Welcome back to Integrated, a podcast for entrepreneurial couples who are wanting to have a great family, an awesome partnership, do meaningful work in the world, anyone living their own true path.
And really stepping into awesome relationships. That's what we're focused on here, is to help you have an awesome quality of life by getting this part of your life dialed.
Yeah.
All right, what are we talking about today, Ellen?
I think we're talking about how to move through an argument.
Yes.
All right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we never argue, so this is coming from
we don't.
The mountaintop. I'm kidding.
We were arguing yesterday.
We were.
Yeah.
Yeah, we still haven't totally finished that.
It's not totally resolved, but look, you can
be in the same room.
You can hang out,
friendly.
connect, and be like, actually, we have something we're still working on and figuring out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll unpack this in many different episodes. You're going to hear this a lot because it's so critical. You can't hear this enough, honestly.
Yeah, and it's multifaceted. There's a lot to arguing and repairing and moving through that process together. So we can't do it all in one episode, but we're going to do some of it today.
Yeah. Okay, so how do we move through an argument? And I would add, as quickly and efficiently as possible, because it's uncomfortable, right? Mm-hmm. Nobody wants to hang out in an argument very long.
No one enjoys that. And I think, yes, quickly, efficiently, and effectively, to actually get somewhere better versus we just shoved it aside and we're like, fine, you're right. And just like, okay, it's over.
Yeah.
We actually want you to get somewhere better than you were before.
Right. And that requires embracing discomfort. Remember, in the last episode, we talked about the comfortable marriage versus the thriving marriage, and the key difference being the thriving people are willing to engage in arguments, conflict, discomfort, because they want to get stronger and move through it, and it's inevitable, and they're like, okay, let's figure out how to do this well.
Yeah, we engage in those uncomfortable things in the service of growing, developing, becoming more connected, more understanding of ourselves and each other. It's a process that humans go through and need to go through to build security and build connection and trust. You have to have some friction. You will have some friction. And how do we actually do it well so that it supports our relationship and we don't have to be afraid or back away from it, or feel like our relationship's so fragile it can't handle it.
Yeah. Amen.
So many things.
And remember, let's zoom way out with context. So we just said comfortable versus thriving. So you want to be the kind of couple who can handle adversity.
Because adversity is coming.
It's just part of life.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Part of life.
Yeah. Part of a relationship.
There will be challenges in your relationship or from the world.
Yeah. And then in episode 2, we talked about the essential framework. Now, Ellen and I in a future episode are going to talk about vision, purpose, agreements, etc. But to just review really quickly, the essential framework we talked about is standing for 3. Is our life, it's what we're doing and how we're treating each other good for me, you, and us. Mm-hmm. So we're ideally coming from that type of framework. And if you don't have frameworks that you're coming from and principles and you're not oriented around things, you will just go to the lowest common denominator in your nervous system and the rut in your brain and body of what you've always done. Mm-hmm. Where, we have conflict. Okay, I got to run and hide. I got to shut down. I got to blame and defend. I got to do my habit, thinking that that's going to somehow work.
Right, because it may have been the only way you got through challenges growing up. It's like what we learn is what we do. And so most of us have more to learn when we get into adulthood and adult partnerships about other ways to deal with conflict, to deal with, our most important relationships. So that's what we're here for.
Yeah. So ideally you have some kind of, foundation that's like, our relationship can handle stuff that's difficult. Having said that, we find ourselves in an argument. What do we do?
Right.
Okay. Now, really, one of you has 2 choices. You can talk or listen, really, first. And usually people come to the table talking, like wanting to blame or defend themselves.
Wanting to be heard, too.
Yeah.
Like, I want to be heard.
Yeah. you need to listen to me. Let me finish.
Let me talk about myself, what was upsetting to me, what happened to me, what I'm thinking, what this means. So,
Yeah, me, myself, and I. So a lot of people come in with that frame, and we're suggesting you come in actually doing the opposite of considering your partner first instead of yourself first. And so if you're going to listen, we'll talk about a couple options. And if you're going to we'll talk about a couple options. And if you're going to listen, we'll talk about what to do.
Yeah. And I just want to back up for a second because I think the process we're talking about right now is one where you whatever, maybe something blew up. Maybe someone was short and hurt someone's feelings or was inconsiderate. Like something happened in life that went quickly and badly. Okay. And it didn't get repaired or worked on. And maybe you both walked away with not good feelings. There's things we could talk about, maybe not today, but to do in that moment. Like how could we actually like soften that situation quickly in that moment?
Yeah.
Stuff to do there.
Yep.
But what we're talking about today, I think, is when you come back to something.
Because it's gone off the rails.
Because something went off the rails, or something, I've thought about this and this isn't working for me, or I don't like how this goes, or like this is like a time when you're both ready to have a conversation. That could happen right as an event goes down.
During.
Some people could be like, whoa, what just happened? Like, what's going on? And you can do that. Sometimes this is when people are coming back to something. For some couples, they're just not ready to kind of do this kind of listening and this dialogue we're going to talk about in that moment.
Yeah. So it could be an hour later. It could be the next day. It could be a week later because you're so overwhelmed and busy.
But as soon as possible is really important. Don't put things off forever. You really within the day, if you can, within the hour if you can, but within the day, you want to revisit things and get some level of connection and care and understanding back online. But this what we're going to talk about today is sort of when you're ready to talk about something or even somewhat ready. Maybe you're still dreading it.
Yeah.
But you're like, okay, I know we need to, so let's do this.
Okay, so I come in and I'm going to talk. It's been a while, so I initiate some kind of, hey, is now a good time? Are you available? Can we talk about what happened last night, a minute ago? I'm ready. Are you? Type of thing. And we want to come with our vibe being friendly. We don't want to come with our guns blazing and dukes up, ready to fight again. Come conveying, I'm interested, I care about you, and I care about our relationship. This matters to me.
That's ideal.
So that's the spirit you're coming with. The
spirit of that. And back up one step again.
Okay, I'm going too fast, apparently.
Is this, you can see how if you've already got a shared understanding as a couple that, if we have a conflict, we're going to address it and we're going to repair it. Like if you both are like committed to that, it's going to, when your partner comes to you and says, hey, something didn't go well, or I really need to talk to you about something, you've already made an agreement with your partner and in yourself that resolving things, getting back to a good place is important to you and should be done as soon as you can. And so therefore, this is going to go better. You're going to be receptive to your partner saying, hey, I need to talk. You're going to say, yes, I know we need to, and I'm not ready now. Can we do it tonight? Or, you're going to figure out a time. You're going to collaborate with them, or you're going to say, yeah, let's do that. I know that's important. So again, that sets the stage. Like there's all these things that set the stage, for you to be more successful working through an argument, having a shared understanding that it's important to do it, and then collaborating around a time together to have the conversation in a more kind of conscious, mindful kind of way. Yeah.
So you're both receptive.
More intentional way.
And this is the deal.
Okay. So you do all that.
Yep. And so you
decide okay.
Yeah. I'm going to come talking. If I choose the talking path, I'm not going to do what I habitually do and what most people do, which is blame or defend. I'm going to come, you always, you never. I'm going to come instead with my sword and shield down and my arms open, metaphorically here. And I'm going to say things like, I messed up. I'm going to lead with taking personal responsibility. I raised my voice there. I was kind of a jerk a few minutes ago. And I can see the impact on you was that it felt scary to you, and it was like mean-spirited, and I think it scared you and shut you down, is what I saw. I might take a first pass like that. So ownership and empathy, number one. That's one option. And then I'm going to go into like listening mode. But what's another option if I'm going to speak first?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay, can I talk about that, what you just did for a second? Because I think this is so important, and this can be really hard for people to do. Ownership can feel like I'm blaming myself, which it's not.
Yeah.
Like actually, when you do ownership, it's liberating. Especially if your partner is someone who doesn't go right into blame. Like because I could respond and be like, yeah, you were, you're such a jerk and you do that all the time. Like I could just go after him. That's not going to be good. That's actually going to help us. Actually, what happens to me when you take ownership in our life is that I relax.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh. And I can be like, yeah, I know I wasn't handling you well and I was preoccupied or I was not focused on, like, then I can take ownership and relieve you.
Yes. And then it's like, oof. So
we can both start with ownership and you're checking out. Like it seemed like that had a negative impact on you, Ellen. Is that true? And I could be like, yeah, but normally that wouldn't bother me so much, but because we've been disconnected the last couple of weeks or because I had this really terrible event happen yesterday, like I'm just under-resourced. Like you can start just with ownership. So much can start to move and people skip over that. So I just wanted to like double click on that because it's so powerful when a partner owns something. You don't have to have an answer. You don't have to have it fixed. No one's taking blame. People are just being responsible for their own experience and their actions. Yeah. And if there's room for that, that just starts to move everything, into the right direction.
Yeah. And again, just underlining here, the power of owning and giving a shit about the impact of my behavior on my partner.
Yeah.
That's the empathy part. I'm like, oh, I actually do care that you're impacted negatively by me. It's not actually your problem that you get activated by me. It's our problem, and I did something that hurt you.
Yeah.
And so I should care about the impact of my choices and actions and behavior on Ellen.
So this is really different than someone assigning blame or fault. This is two people working together to be responsible for themselves, their impact on each other, and to recognize just we're humans who make mistakes, and we can learn. We can actually learn how to do things better. So ownership is huge. You can start with that. Another thing you can start with is like if I come to you and say, hey, we need to talk about what happened earlier. Or I don't feel good about it. I'm sure you don't either. Is this a good time?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So I start with, I'm guessing what you're upset about, Jayson, is that I didn't check in with you about what I was doing today. And so you didn't feel considered.
Yeah.
Is that right? So you can also start with, and then I can own that. Like, I didn't check in and I didn't think about you. I was just kind of thinking about myself and what I had to get done.
So you're almost doing it in reverse. You're almost empathizing first and then owning.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. And so either way,
I'm imagining what's like
for
your partner.
And if I'm wrong, because sometimes I have it wrong, right? I'm guessing you're upset that I did let you know what I was doing. You could be like, no, it's not it. It actually was this other thing. And then this is important because we want to make sure we're addressing the thing that matters.
Problem that we both agree is the problem.
We both agree is this problem.
Having a shared reality about the problem.
And there might be two problems going on, and each of us is tracking one, right? That's fair. That could happen. But we want to make sure we're addressing what's important for our partner. So many arguments, people are halfway through them, they're heated, and it's like, what do you think your partner's upset about? And they're off.
Yeah.
It's like, no, that's not what I'm upset. I'm upset about this other thing, that the way you handled me, or that this is a pattern, or whatever it is.
And you're often off because you're so self-focused. You're actually not thinking about your partner. You're thinking about protecting yourself, your point of view, your position, all the ways they were wrong and you're right. when you think like that, it's very hard to imagine what it's like for the other person.
Right. And you need to know what your partner's actually upset about so you can address that. Mm-hmm. So these two beginning steps of ownership, and it's validation / empathy. It's kind of a little bit of both. Mm-hmm. And making sure you're kind of like, is that right? Is that what's going on? Yeah. You're showing your partner, I'm thinking about you. I'm keeping you in mind. I'm considering you. These are all very pro-relationship things to do versus pro-self things to do, which is like, I don't feel heard. I'm upset. I'm sick and tired of this thing. There's room for all your feelings here. There's room for your whole experience. How you conduct yourselves in an argument where you're trying to understand and repair things really matters too. It
does.
You got to get everything out, but you're not going to be able to get it all out if you're stuck on defending yourself and blaming your partner. Mm-hmm. You're not going to get to the important stuff.
Yeah. So let's go to, that's if I'm coming in talking, remember that's the talking path. If I lead with talking, I'm going to lead with ownership, empathy, or empathy, ownership, right? And then I move into some of the other, two of the other skills maybe we'll talk about in listening. So let's talk about the listening path, and then we'll bring these together. So the listening path is I come, same thing. Hey, is now a good time? Can we talk? Blah, blah, blah. Hey, honey, I'm aware we're disconnected. That was a hard conversation, and I want to listen. That would feel good to me, as I just want to understand what happened for you. And so I just make a really open gesture of, I'm in listening mode. You tell me what happened according to you and what's so upsetting and what you're mad about, hurt about, etc. And I am going to do my very best to LUFU you, which is the acronym of listen until you feel understood. LUFU. That's my commitment, is I'm going to attempt to listen to you until you feel understood. So go, like partner. And then Ellen starts talking. Well, you did this X, Y, and Z, and I'm going to do 4 things during my listening process, and we can demo it. What?
Go ahead.
Okay. This is, again, a version, right?
I'll get to my thing.
Okay. So 4 things in the LUFU process. I'm going to reflect back the essence of what I'm hearing. All right. It sounds like is a good way to start. It sounds like you're mad because of X, Y, and Z. And then you can ask, did I get that right? Is there more? That type of thing. So I'm going to just reflect back the essence, because that tells the person, I'm not interested in defending myself right now. I'm really interested in what you're saying, your version of what happened here. And then I'm going to validate feelings. It makes sense that you feel sad, hurt, alone, scared, mad, etc. And then I'm going to own, because it makes sense, because I did do the thing that upset you. And then I'm going to empathize, like, oh, geez, man, that must be hard and sounds really stressful. And given everything else that you're dealing with right now, that just added a whole nother weight, and I'm going to try to show that with my body language. I'm going to try to that would be hard. Yes. So reflect back, validate, own, empathize are just 4 things you can anchor to in trying to listen. And they might come back with some heat. No, it's not like that. It's like this. And you always, you never. And that's where it gets challenging, because then I want to go into, and then we're off to the races. Mm-hmm. Now I'm defending myself. And then I'm derailing my listening process and getting into facts and what was said, and I don't agree, and
what happened and didn't happen.
Yeah.
And
you're going to have to set all of that down, because if you're in a fair mutual relationship here, you've got to trust that they will reciprocate and take an interest in your experience and what happened for you eventually, right? Like ideally afterwards.
Well, I think it's more than trust. Like, this is where I just feel like for any of this to be successful, you've got to have a shared agreement or understanding of what you're up to. Mm-hmm. So so I can't just hope that you'll listen to me
True.
after I listen to you. I
Good
can't
call.
just trust if that hasn't been my experience, right?
We agree.
We have to agree that this is what we do.
This is how we play.
I'm going to listen to you until you feel understood. It's your fucking turn right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to try to get your world. Like, so when I did this, you felt that. Like, so when I, or when I didn't do the thing you wanted, what did that convey to you? You're trying to get very curious about your partner's experience and trying to really understand, like, oh yeah, if I was you, given who you are and where you've come from, it makes sense that would be upsetting.
Mm-hmm.
We have to dig deep for that genuine validation. And I think, you tell me, I think the speaker in this situation also still has responsibility.
Agreed.
And so this is why it's so important as a couple to together agree to, if I'm going to listen until you feel understood and put all my feelings on hold until it's my turn, because we need to get to everybody's material.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm going to put all my feelings on hold until it's my turn, I'm going to listen to you. I'm going to try to understand you. If you come at me for an hour, if you come at me with a lot of blame, if you come at me with a lot of things that make it very difficult to do more intentional and supportive listening, I don't think that's very fair. We did a fairness episode.
Yeah.
And so I really think that, and again, sometimes listening to this podcast, it's just one person, right? Maybe your partner isn't in this agreement with you yet, or you haven't decided this is a couple. Maybe you just want to try, and this can work. I'm going to try to just listen until this person feels understood. We don't have a shared agreement yet. We don't have, the speaker isn't holding a sense of responsibility for how they share their feelings and making this a co-created dialogue. If all you've got is your desire to listen and try to make this better, you can start there. Ultimately, you really need both people handling what's going on between you. Because so often I see one person, like, it's my turn and I'm entitled to as much time as I want, as much heat as I want, as much narrative and story and content, and just like, and I'm right, and this is how it was. And it's like, I just feel like that.
Yeah.
You're really making it steep for your partner to stay with you, to stay present, they're already having to put things on hold to listen. There's just, some responsibility in how you handle someone who's like, hey, I want to understand you.
Yeah. I'm so glad you said this, because the speaker has a responsibility to repeat what Ellen said. And it's so mean and inconsiderate of you to talk for an hour. It's just, you lose your audience. You're not being relational at all. Once again, you're just thinking about yourself. You've got to develop the skill of speaking and not losing your audience and watching their face, pacing yourself, offering it in digestible chunks so that they can take it in and respond, maybe. And again, if I haven't been speaking up for 5 years and all of a sudden I've got a listener who now is listening, cool, I'm going to lay out all the resentments I've had for the last 5 years. You can't expect the person to field that, because you've dropped the ball as a couple on addressing these things as they come up. This is why little things turn into big things, right? And so there's a lot to these skills, and the speaker has a responsibility to be kind and considerate and digestible chunks.
And true to themselves.
Not omitting things, not taking care of their person. Yeah. You can come with some anger, but you can't come screaming and yelling. That's not going to go well. If all you do is blame and you're not weaving in some, I know I have a part in this, we'll get to that. If you're not weaving that stuff in, it's going to feel really bad, and they're going to struggle to listen to you.
Yeah, the best listener in the world is going to feel bogged down by the kind of lack of consideration. And so what we're often talking about is this both and. This, I got to advocate for myself, yes, but I also need to keep you in mind, and how
whatever I'm saying, whatever I'm advocating for, however I'm doing it, how it's landing over there. Because if I lose you, if I lose my listener, there's no point in continuing. Like the point is to stay in it together. And that takes both of you kind of working together. Like, well, hold on, I need to respond to that. Or like, wow, let's just pause there. That was a lot. I want to make sure I can respond to you if I'm listening, or can we slow down? I mean, you've got to be able to work together on this. It's not just if I have a listener that is just free reign. So.
Yeah, really well said. That was a good tangent, because it's so important that the speaker is considerate. Yeah. So coming back to LUFU, right, the commitment again is to listen until they feel understood. You are going to reflect back, you're going to own, you're going to validate, and you're going to empathize. And then you're going to switch. And ideally, this will have had an impact. Yeah. You'll see physically the person start to relax a little bit. They'll nod their head. They might even say thank you. They might tear up. A number of things happen that would suggest you're on the right track. Yeah. And so that's why it's important to look at each other, to not be driving while doing this. Mm-hmm. And then you might be like, is there anything else? And that's the time when you don't want to bring out the massive pile of resentments. We're just talking about one thing at a time, the thing that happened last night or an hour ago. So the practices is one thing at a time is a good rule of thumb. Mm-hmm. Rather than, oh, cool, you're listening to me well, I feel safe enough to bring up all the other hard shit that we haven't worked through. Yeah. And you pile on. And then that feels really bad to the listener.
Yeah, you can't, if you're not getting anything accomplished, if things just keep spiraling. Like, well, we started talking about this, and now we're talking about this, and the next, I know exactly what you're talking about with now here comes the last 10 years of stuff. What you have to do, I think, you tell me what you think, is you have to be like, and this, I think you could say like, yeah, this is getting dealt with, and there's a pattern here that we need to address at some point, maybe later today or with our therapist or coach, or there's, I'm recognizing I have a lot of other things that I want to say, or, you can name, there's more for us to get to. Without getting to it right then.
Yes.
Like you've got to, if you're getting some resolution with your partner, you want your partner to get some resolution with you too. Mm-hmm. You want to resolve as best you can the event of that morning or that day. And yes, it probably plugs into other dynamics, or a larger dynamic that's been ongoing, or a larger message that's been getting sent that doesn't feel good. You're going to have to get to that. Yeah. But in this moment right now, you're trying to just get this one piece as dealt with as you can without addressing the years or the many events, and making it so that you get nothing done.
Yeah. So if we're taking the one thing at a time, and I listen to Ellen until she feels understood, and she says, yeah, thanks. Yes, there's more, but I want to hear about you, Jayson, and what happened for you. Wow. Thank you. And now we get to what happened for me. And this is just the one thing that happened an hour ago or last night. And then now it switches roles. Ellen's now trying to LUFU me, and I'm going to be the speaker. And again, I'm going to be considerate and caring, right? And then as we get a few successes under our belt, it's like, wow, we can handle hard things. We just got through that. High five each other. There might be a hug, acknowledgement. And I know we're not done. I know there's more. It sounds like you have some other stuff that you want to address. I need a little break right now. Can we come back to that later, since it's like historical and all that?
Right. Or we need to go to bed. It's late, or we have to go to work, or but maybe by just doing that one event of the day, or whatever the argument that happened that you're trying to resolve and come back to, you both might realize together, like, oh yeah, this happens to us a lot, or I feel that way with you a lot, and I don't love that. We've got to look at how to shift that. And so often so much happens in this process that supports healing and repair of larger dynamics. So it's not like, well, we just got this one thing done, but we still have all this work to do. I'm like, this moment is going to help you do that larger piece, if there is a larger piece. Yeah. There often is. It's going to help you feel more confident going into that. Like, wow, we did this little thing about, that happened this morning and we did that pretty well, we can probably address larger things that we feel more tiptoey about or haven't gone well when we've tried to discuss it or address it before.
Yeah. So this is how to move through an argument. And as we said, this can apply to in the moment arguments. You can actually right the ship in the moment by starting to do this type of behavior. Or this is good for hours later, an hour later, that night, when you have space to drop into this type of conversation. And again, many nuances here. Hopefully that was helpful.
That's something. I want to add one more thing.
Please.
I think at the, getting to repair, like we could unpack repair more. We sort of talked about how to work through an argument, but how to integrate repair is almost like another episode. But if you get to that sense of, I'm feeling more understood, I feel like my partner cares about how I feel, I feel like we're working on this together, you get to some better, sense of we're in this together and we're looking out for each other, ourselves, and our relationship, that standing for 3 idea. The one other thing you can do here is just plan for next time. Hey, the next time, I am really short with you, here's what we could do. Or the next time I do that thing that bothers you, or the next time we get in an argument like that, like start planning for the next time. Don't just say I'm sorry and leave it. Like actually become better at dealing with conflict over time by planning for what should we do if that happens again.
Yeah.
And coming up with a way that would feel good to both of you and experimenting with that. So again, we can unpack that. But I think that's an important part of integrating a repair. It's not the only part.
Yeah.
Kind of making sure you're thinking about, well, what will we do better next time?
Yeah, a key word here that Ellen's saying is what will we do better, not what will you do better next time. Because again, the habit is it's my partner's fault and they need to change.
You just stop doing that, or if you just start doing something, then this won't be a problem.
How are you? That's not true. How are you going to handle your anger? How are you going to handle your silence? How are you going to? Nope. We're going to talk about it in how are we? Because we're a couple here. We're a team. How are we going to handle it when you do this thing? How are we going to handle me when I do this thing? How are we going to approach this differently in the future?
How can I respond to you in a way that would have a better outcome? How can I let you know that doesn't work for me sooner? Do you want to know about that? I mean, there's a lot we can unpack and help you with in terms of coming up with how to, what to look for going forward.
Yeah. Okay, since we're not asking for ads, we'd love you to subscribe, of course, to the podcast here on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. You can watch the video on Spotify, soon YouTube. And we love one action step is to, again, listen to this with your partner and debrief it. And then one more action step, if you're up for it, is to share it with a friend or a coworker or someone in your life that you might think could benefit. Okay, thanks again, people.
Thank you.